Before we start the video, I want to do a little quick disclaimer. I'm not one of those Snyder cult fanboy sort of people that all the verifieds complain about on Twitter. I follow a lot of people who are kind of in those circles, but nobody I've seen is really ridiculous about it. Most of those people are very reactionary and only act the way they do because they liked a movie that was repeatedly just shat on for 3 years. And they're just defending someone who made a movie they liked. And so there's nothing wrong with that. If you made a movie you didn't like, there's no reason to attack the guy. Last week, Zack Snyder said this about Batman killing in Batman vs. Superman.
And then you come and say to me something about like, oh, my superhero wouldn't do that. I'm like, are you serious? I'm 100% fine with it. It's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent, but you're living in a dream world, okay?
Then, as the internet does on a usual basis, it freaked out hard. A lot of these people also make videos about film on the internet, and I greatly respect them and love their videos. But so many people claim that Zack Snyder doesn't understand the characters he's adapting. That's not true in the slightest. In fact, I think Zack Snyder has a ton of respect for these characters, and I know that because of this one thing. Batman is portrayed as a human man with flaws. Snyder's entire filmography is based on two things: myths and deconstruction. Snyder is in love with the concept of myth-making. He loves showing how or why someone becomes a myth. In his own words, he said, "Once I learned that my beloved myths could be deconstructed and rethought, that became my primary way of thinking. A creative property can't evolve if its creators aren't willing to tear the whole thing down and try to see what makes it work." Deconstruction means
a method of critical analysis of philosophical and literary language which emphasizes the internal workings of language and conceptual systems, the relational quality of meaning, and the assumptions implicit in forms of expression.
Basically, a deconstruction in this sense is looking at a character, defining what makes them them, and asking why are they like this, getting to their roots. Snyder literally said this last week in his Q&A. "I love these characters, but I want to know what makes them tick. If in canon it says a character can't do that, that's the first thing I want to do. Like, why not?" Snyder took the things that make Batman Batman and he said,
"But why?
Batman isn't the character you loved from the comics because he's a movie character. Batman 89 is different than the comics, Batman 66 is different than the comics, and Batman 05 is very different than the comics. And granted, those are all solid interpretations, solid movies made by great directors, and I love them. But you can't say that your problem with Affleck's Batman is that he kills because they all killed. Adapting characters who have an extensive amount of source material into movies is extremely tough. With some rare exceptions, films are all about change. Who wants to watch a movie where the character doesn't go through a change? Psychologically, Batman is such an interesting and captivating character, but he only got that way because he's been changed over the course of so many years.
The new kind of mean in him?
After the death of Robin, Batman didn't think there were any good men left. The arrival of Superman and the destruction of Metropolis scared him. He let his son die. If there was a chance that this being from the sky was evil, then he has to stop them. He can't let the Earth die too.
What's next? Millions. He has the power to wipe out the entire human race, and if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
By the end of the movie, Batman realizes he was wrong. Batman's whole arc can be summed up in 3 shots. The bullet at the death of the Waynes, the bullet at the death of Superman, and the bullet at the death of Batman. In the theatrical cut of Justice League, and what I presume the Snyder cut of Justice League, Batman's plan is to sacrifice himself so the team can fight Steppenwolf. This helps complete Batman's arc. Batman started as a scared kid, then as a regretful man, letting the greatest man on Earth die, and then sacrificing himself to save the world. Now, I know that the internet says their problem with Batman in Batman vs. Superman is that he kills, and I know that isn't the case. So many people say that they hate that Batman kills in this movie, but I think it's because they just don't know what they didn't like about it. If you find the film boring, fine. If you think it has pacing issues, which it does, fine. The movie doesn't even have any establishing shots. but Batman killing is not one of the problems with the movie. Nowhere has Snyder said, "My Batman kills," because it's obvious and apparent that his Batman doesn't. Because Batman can change. This man who looks at the Batsuit with disgust and regret is different than this Batman who's looking towards a bright future. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and like it and share it and, whatever. If you haven't noticed, I've been uploading every weekend since, the beginning of January, all of 2019. It's kind of my New Year's resolution, was to upload once a week, and I wanted to keep that consistent, and I have so far. So, if you like any of my videos, go ahead and subscribe. That's a cool thing to do, whatever. And, if you disagreed with me, go ahead and, call me out in the comments. Tell me what you disagreed with, and we can have that conversation, because that's all I'm really about, is having that conversation with everybody, because Reddit and Twitter just resort to name calling, and it's ridiculous. So yeah, that's all I had to say. I'll see you guys later. See you, bye.